Hi, welcome to Frisky Talk 14 with SteveParry. Steve has been making an impact in both the background and the forefront of the underground electronic music industry for decades. From curating records for DJs like Sasha and Digweed to a 3-year residency at Cream in Liverpool, Steve has been managing the direction of music from behind the scenes and behind the decks. His roles as a promoter, manager at 3 Beat Records, headlining DJ, radio show host, and A&R consultant have kept him always connected to the music he loves, with his life today busy with his company SMP3 Music Management, co-running Selador Recordings with Dave Seaman, and sharing the best new tracks on his FRISKY Show Selador Sessions. This conversation with Steve was seriously so much fun. With all of his depths of experience in the industry, he provides some amazing insight into a whole range of subjects, from how tracks lost their longevity to why you should only produce the music that you want to hear. He shares some great stories from the beginning of the club scene in the UK and what it was like to be at the record store every Saturday when everyone met back up again. There's so much great stuff, I can't even begin to touch on all the subjects. Thank you again, Steve, for this awesome talk, and thank you for listening. I hope you all enjoy this Frisky Talk 14 with SteveParry.
Hello.
Hey, how are you?
I'm good, thank you, Lauren. How are you?
I'm good. I watched your Facebook Live thing. That was really cool.
Oh, good. We've been doing that on and off for weeks because Dave and I live in different cities, so when we meet up, all those are done in Liverpool, which is my home city, so if we come here for a gig or a meeting or something, we're like, quick, let's go and see the guys and film us.
Nice.
And we did. Do you know what? We filmed that about 9 times just to try and get different answers. And do you know what? We just answered say exactly the same every time. We'd used 2 shots. Could have just done it in about an hour, but hey ho, all part of the fun.
Nice. So, what else are you up to? You're obviously really busy.
Yeah, well, the label I just kind of do part time really. I do realistically about an hour a day. So I run a promo company.
Yeah.
Called SMP3. So I work with quite a lot of labels from. So the Selador, Sudbeat, Hope, So, which is Oliver Shorer's label. And then some techier labels, but overall there's about 30 or 40 labels I work with. And then my other job, which I squeeze in, was because I used to work in record shops, I used to sell to a lot of the DJs like Sasha and Dave Seaman and stuff. So when I left the record shop and when vinyl was on its demise, I kind of created my own job where I'm kind of like the personal shoppers, and I get paid to find them music each week. So I do that with quite a few people. Sasha and Dave Seaman and Beirut and Sander Kleinenberg. So basically just go through all their promos and then I go on Beatport. So each week I just kind of give them a folder. So kind of like I did in a record shop really, but with MP3s. So to be honest, I can't believe I get away with it and get paid for it.
Yeah, that sounds fun.
Don't tell them that I do it for nothing but...
Well, it's also a helpful service though. Yes,
it's good, and also because I've also got access to all their promos, so I get a lot of stuff, so that's very handy. So that's very nice. That's a real perk of the job.
Yeah, absolutely. That's awesome that it just kind of flowed. I know you're talking about working at 3 Beat, right? That's how it started.
Yes, yeah, I was in 3 Beat for 10 years, so I love that. I mean, before that, I used to work in other record shops. So it was always my aim to get to 3 Beat. So they kind of half knew who I was, but I pestered them until I got in there. I battered down the doors. Come on, take me on. And then when they did, I loved it. That was my dream job.
Yeah, absolutely. That's awesome. So what do you feel like similar and different now from working when it was records to like digital?
The main difference was the kind of structure that there was of who could get the records when. It was almost like a hierarchy. So when the DJ made the track, they'd give it either to sorry, when the producer made a track, they'd either give it to the label or to the DJ, and they'd get an acetate or something cut, so that only like 2 or 3 people had it. Then it would go to test pressing, so only 20 people had it. Then it go to promo, so 150 people got it. And then when it was released, kind of everybody could get it. So I think that's a massive difference nowadays. Whereas people, you could build a hype, and you had to wait for a track.
Yeah.
Whereas nowadays, it's almost instantaneous. People could play it, and somebody could rip it off a set, put an intro on it, and they've got that track. So I find that's very different, and also the longevity of a track has very much changed. Tracks used to be around for weeks, months, years. Now you're lucky if they're around 2 or 3 weeks, which is mad. It can take far longer for somebody to make a tune than the life of the tune itself. It's like weird. Very, very odd.
That's so true.
Yeah. So yeah, I definitely find that you've got to. I used to know every record inside out that I had. Nowadays I don't, because there's just so flipping many, and it's changing every day almost.
Yeah, like and having the visual, like the whole art and everything.
I used to know, even I'm not very good with names, but I knew what the cover looked like.
Yeah.
I mean, when I was in the record shop, I was dealing with records all day, every day, and there's only a finite amount of stock we could have. So then I knew the name of everything. But since then, looking at an MP3 file that might be labeled wrong, you just go, what's that thing that says BR2A remix? You have to go, oh, what does that do again? And if you haven't played it that within the last sort of 24 hours, I often forget what it is. So I have to put descriptions on my track. The one with the great big breakdown, then that drum roll, and then so I can look at it and go, oh yeah, I know what it is. Half the time I do look at it and then say, I can't remember writing that. I don't even know what that track is.
I still don't know what that means.
Yes.
Do you think there's, like, this is just the state of it now? Like, is there any way to change so tracks do have more longevity? Or
I am not sure, because I think back then there was also more money in sales, because the label had to be confident enough to put the money in to invest it to press the vinyl, and the return on the vinyl was greater than on an MP3. So therefore there was a bit more money in the pot. So therefore people are possibly going to spend more time making a track, knowing there's the potential, especially the bigger artists, the potential to recoup their cash. Whereas nowadays, making a track is almost like your modern day equivalent of what used to be a mixtape. Do me a mix. Whereas nowadays promoters want to see what tracks you've released, and I think there's almost like if you're not making tracks, which I didn't do for years, then you're not really getting gigs, which I think that's very much changed. Because I never made tracks, I was just a DJ, and it's only sort of the last 3 or 4 years I've started making tracks again, because my gigs virtually went non-existent from being. I had 2 radio shows a week and 3 gigs a week, and I was in the record shop, and I'd be flying to all over the place, all over Europe and all over Mexico. But nowadays, if you're not making tracks, people don't discover you. There's very, very few new DJs who are just a DJ and don't make the tracks. So I think that's very much changed nowadays. And because of that, I think people are still trying to do quantity over quality a lot of the time. So I think people aren't going to spend 4 months making a track. They want to have done 6 tunes in the 4 months, 8 tunes in the 4 months. So I think that's very much changed a lot of the way. That's possibly why people aren't taking the time to do tracks, which is why there aren't so many anthems. I mean, I don't know if that makes sense to anybody else, but it seems quite...
No, it does. Yeah, that makes a lot of sense, because you always hear people say that you have to be a producer, and then that like tied in all the issues that there are of there's so many tracks and they don't have, because people are rushing to put them out to be heard. And I think it's a shame, because being a DJ and a producer are 2 totally different skills. Very different.
See, I've made tracks, but I don't think I'm a producer. I'm I'm a DJ. The only reason I'm making tracks, or I started making tracks again, one, because I always wanted to, but secondly, because I'd kind of fallen off the musical radar for my kind of scene, which I found quite hard, because I used to do quite well. I used to be playing at Cream and Renaissance and get Bedrock gigs, but now I was finding other people who made tracks were getting the gigs. And you know what? It took me a long time to start making tunes again. But now that I have, I love it, and I'm properly addicted to it. And if I could make more and spend more time doing it, I would do a lot more. Because it's even though it's different, it's all kind of connected. And I think what you can learn from DJing can help translate into the studio, because you've got that experience, not just because you know how a track works, but you know how a specific track would work for moments in your DJ set. So I make tunes for me and me only, and if anyone else likes it, that's brilliant. And I think that was my problem when I first started making tunes again. I tried to make tunes that other people would like, and if you do that, I think for the more underground vibes anyway, I think you're just going to fall flat on your face. But as soon as I made a track that I just wanted to finish for myself, and I wasn't interested if anybody else would like it, it suddenly turned out really good. And that was the first one that got signed. I was like, oh, right, okay. Trust yourself, make a tune that you like. And if I'd play it, great. And then, I mean, that happened with my track, Flippant, and then Digweed signed it for Bedrock, it proper freaked me out. That was like a dream. That was like a dream come true. I was like, weird. I only made it for myself just to see if I could actually finish a track and get to the very end. Because the other things I'd done in the previous years, on and off, I'd kind of got about 3/4 of the way through and gone, nah, this is going nowhere. So yeah, I think I had that in my mind. Can I finish a track? And then when I did, I thought, I don't care if anyone likes it. Then hey ho. Then I think I got the confidence back in myself, but I'd also lost my confidence in DJing a bit as well. I think there was a few points in my life where I lost my confidence, because I was always quite a confident DJ, as in I got a bit nervous, but I knew I could do a half decent job. I knew I was happy with my music, and I think when the so-called, because I've always been classed as more of a sort of progressive DJ, even though I suppose I play all sorts and I like all sorts, I play very much in that kind of musical field. When I noticed the music getting a lot darker and a lot more stripped back, and it kind of moved away from what I was more comfortable with. And then as I wasn't in the record shop anymore, and I stopped doing my weekly radio show, it was kind of all at the time when everything switched from vinyl to digital. And for some reason, everyone I know could mix better on CDJs than they could on vinyl, and I just couldn't do it, and it freaked me out. And I thought I'd just lost the plot. I thought, right, I'm not enjoying the music, I can't mix as well as I used to, I haven't got my mainstay record shops and the main gigs that I had. I wasn't playing for Cream anymore, and there was a few times I thought about like packing it all in, but I also knew in the back of my mind I would not be happy doing. If I gave up DJing, I think I'd slowly drive myself insane, because I knew I had more to give and more I wanted to do in my life. So starting the record label up, Selador, and then getting the show back on FRISKY and making music again. And then finally, when I got some CDJ 2000s, it all just clicked. I was like, oh, that's it. And just as I was really loving the music again. So I think I got myself into a weird place. And I think I was causing my own problems, really, because I always knew there was good music out there. But I think I was just kind of doubting myself, which must happen to a lot of DJs, especially DJs who've been DJing a long time. who aren't doing as well as they used to be doing. I used to have conversations with quite a few of my friends, and we were all we'd all been DJing since we were like 15 and absolutely loved it. And we were all in our 40s, and we were thinking, well, maybe it has come to the end. But I think we all kind of kept pushing ourselves through. These are like friends I've known for years and years. And the good thing is, everybody seems to be doing well again. Out of friends who did nearly give up. So that's nice to see. And I also feel like I'm achieving more now in the last few years kind of than I've ever done. So I am also very glad that I didn't give up, because I don't think I would have wanted to have given up and thought, oh, if only I'd have played Ministry of Sound, or I would have loved to have played in Space in Ibiza. So I think the fact that I've done those has just really spurred me on again, and given me a whole new lease of life, which is quite weird, seeing as I'm old enough to be half the young DJs' dads nowadays, which is quite funny, but I quite like that as well. I think it's quite funny.
It's really interesting because I do feel like a lot of people, like you said, that you've talked to and that I've talked to have gone through that same thing with the transition of the music and kind of losing the progressive melodic, that, you know, sound, and then just the way everything changed. It's interesting to, you know, the cascade of events. But now I've, you know, from what I've heard from people, everyone's saying they feel like it's coming back, and it's a lot of that amazing that the energy that everyone, you know, who's kept with it, it's getting like better and better even now, which is just wonderful.
Yeah, it seems to me. It seems really good. I think the music is in a very healthy place.
Yeah.
Everybody I know seems to be really, I mean, the technology is getting better as well, constantly. I mean, I used CDJs, and I think I struggled because I got freaked out by record box at first, because I think I went from vinyl to just an MP3 on a USB to then using record box. So that freaked me out at first. I found it long-winded and clunky, and whereas nowadays I love record box, and I think everybody uses technology. I mean, over time you're going to learn how to use it better and better anyway. But when we were in Berlin recently, we had our Selador's 5th birthday party. It was quite funny because there was me, Quiver, and Dave Seaman all sitting in a hotel reception, all completely ignoring each other, drinking coffee with our headphones on, sorting music out for the night. And then at one point we all just stopped and took our headphones off. Must have had like a bit of ear fatigue, just having a good old chat. I mean, I've known both of those guys since the early 90s. So I'm like, do you know how to do this on a CDJ? And it was funny because all three of us came up with different things you could do on a CDJ that none of us knew about. It's like, wow, this is quite geeky. We've all been DJing for, I don't know how long, 25 odd years, maybe more. And it's mad that you can still learn on a daily basis, that there's so much stuff out there. And I think that's another thing that keeps you going. There's so much more stuff to learn and to do, and so much good music that hopefully hasn't been made yet, and so many good sets to play. And it's great that people like Dave Seaman and Quiver, who I've looked up to for years and I've known for a long, long time, are still friends and are still just as geekily passionate about it all. I think that's a good thing. And another thing that kind of comes off the back of that, I keep seeing people who've been around for years, kind of like myself, but people who've still been hanging in there, who weren't as big as they used to be, like Luke Brancaccio and Jimmy Van Em and Chris Fortier and a whole host of others, Chris Cargo, people who kind of filtered away and now all seem to be doing really well again, which is good, because for quite a few years, I mean, everybody was still there, but they were kind of pushed out the way a little bit by the new breed of DJs. And now I think it's brilliant that everyone's existing side by side and working, kind of all playing slightly different, but all working musically along each other. Like Dave Seaman is a prime example. For me, he was a massive DJ, and he'll be the first to say that sort of in the 2000s he fizzled away a bit, and he was struggling for gigs, whereas now he's absolutely booming again like he used to be years ago. I think that's good and exciting, and I don't know if that's because it must be a few things really. I mean, the fact that they, like Dave is doing his thing with Darren Emerson and Danny Howells as the 3D thing, that is kind of an exciting thing, whether you're an older clubber or hopefully a younger clubber. It might sound weird, but maybe there's some of these clubbers nowadays used to be like, oh, my dad used to listen to Darren Emerson, which is quite crazy and mad. But I mean, that must happen. Somebody's dad going, oh, you need to go and see Danny Howells. He's a brilliant DJ. So I think people reinventing themselves as well seems to be a good thing, but still being true to themselves, if that kind of makes sense.
Yeah, absolutely. I know that's funny. I wonder if there's a lot of like the, it's hip because it's like retro or something, like nostalgia.
And you know, they might go for a bit of a laugh, and they might get there and go, "Oh, this is really good. This is really good."
Yeah, probably better than the other stuff that they're hearing.
Yes.
Have you felt like the crowds like are different now? Like crowds are getting it more now, or?
I do find that crowds are a bit more up for it again. There's a night I play for in Liverpool called 303, and they've got a really cool kind of two demographics. They kind of get the younger audience in, but they kind of get the people who used to go clubbing years ago and go out sort of 2 or 3 times a year. And I find that their atmosphere is brilliant. I played a night not so long ago. It was myself, then Patrice Baumel, and then Digweed, and the atmosphere was amazing. It was like something from the 90s or something. I had a fine old time. But even like Ministry of Sound, the first few times I went to Ministry of Sound, I mean, I was a late developer. I know it's been there since the mid 90s. I didn't go till about 5 years ago, but I found the atmosphere in there now is better than it was 5 years ago. And I don't know why that is. I don't know if it's the music's a bit more energetic, or just the whole scene's a lot livelier, or I mean, it could just be a combination, I think, and it could be a combination of the younger and the older audiences as well. The older audiences, like, still reliving their youth and partying like it's literally like it's 1999. And yeah, I think it's good. Maybe the younger crowds are thinking, oh yeah, it's quite good if you make a bit of noise rather than trying to look cool in your trendy jeans. Maybe that's a good thing. Well, I like it anyway. I always think you go to a club for a good time, to hear good music and to have a good time. So yeah, why not have a good time?
Yeah, maybe there's like not such a stigma now, I think, of just going to shows as an older, that you're just going to enjoy the music and you're not like, oh, I need to be like a partier like I was in my 20s. Yeah.
I know a lot of people have calmed down in general. Maybe a few still get a little bit overexcited at events. Some of my friends, most certainly. But that's a good thing. If they're going to have a great time, great. Yeah. I mean, I used to be out. If I wasn't DJing, I'd be out at least once a week, maybe twice a week. I mean, in the very early days, 89, 90, you could go out like 5 nights a week, and it was crazy. It was absolutely crazy. It was just mad that you used to be able to go to parties in Liverpool on a Tuesday and a Wednesday night, and now Liverpool on a weekly basis struggles a bit on a Friday, whereas Saturday is booming. So now, if people aren't going out quite so often, and maybe they only go out twice a year, then yeah, I think they're going to certainly try and have a bit of a knees up, try and enjoy the night to the full. I mean, if anybody saw me at that Digweed night, they know I had a fine old time. I had a lot of people come and comment at me, "You look like you're having a good time."
Oh, that's really, yes, it was.
Yeah, I had a great time. Thanks very much.
Well, I was wondering about like those early Liverpool days. Like, I'd love to hear how it got started and some of like your favorite, DJs you saw then, or nights, or.
Well, I started going out. It was a bit weird when I first started getting into DJing, because this might be showing my age a bit now. When I first started DJing, house music was literally just arriving. So this was about, I mean, I'm talking I was about 15 then. So, and I was a very young looking 15-year-old. So there was no way I was going to get into clubs. So by then I was still trying to be, my aim was to be a radio DJ. That's what I wanted to do. And I wanted to have like a dance music show where I mixed. And I thought that was my concept that I wanted to bring, because nobody really mixed on the radio ever back then. So it's quite weird that that's almost like the norm now. So because of that as well, there wasn't even enough house music to play all night. So when we used to go out, we used to listen to, they play, some nights would just be a bit cooler and there'd be soul, early hip hop, bit of early house music, and that kind of vibe, and then some stuff like soul to soul, the more kind of British kind of stuff that's kind of half Balearic, half soul kind of stuff. So I used to go out and I used to hang around with a DJ called Dave Ralph, and he's the one who gave me my first gig in a club called Fallows in Aintree in Liverpool, and that club was open. That was another place that was open 5 nights a week. That was open Monday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. And do you know what? Every night was busy, and every night would be a little bit different. I mean, okay, you could go out and you could have a Thursday night with a DJ called Alan Bates, and that would be a party night, as in your typical wedding in the 80s. You'd hear the soundtrack from Grease, and you'd hear Chubby Checker and stuff. So I was taking everything in, and because I was trying to learn how to DJ, as time went by, and I learned my craft doing mobile discos, because my friend also wanted to be a radio DJ, and he bought good old fashioned double deck unit. So it was these 2 belt drive decks with a built-in mixer and a built-in amplifier that you used to just literally plug 2 speakers in, and there we go, you had your sound system. I mean, it was the most basic you can get, but back in, this must have been about 87, 88. But then it was like having a spaceship, and people were like, wow, what do all those things do? Why have you got 2 record players? And you're like, oh yeah, just to keep the music going. They're like, wow. So that I got into doing mobile discos, and you know what? I loved it. I learned my craft, because I've realised if you've got a room full of people and there's grandmothers to aunties to kids, if you can keep that room dancing and change the music all night, but always keep people dancing, you just slightly move it musically. So some people stop dancing, but other people will get up. That's how I learned my craft and how to hold a dance floor. I mean, if you said that to some of the younger kids now, they were like, there's no way I'm going to DJ a 21st or an 18th or a christening or a wedding. But I did that for quite a few years. And apart from carrying the speakers and the lights and the records, that was the only bit I didn't like. Once I was on, I had a great time. And what I used to do is, with the music that with the money that I earned from playing at those kind of things, I used to go and buy. That would be like a Friday and Saturday, and then on the Monday I used to go to the record shop and buy all the new releases, all the stuff for me, the tracks that I wanted to buy, whether it would be like a David Morales thing or a Todd Terry thing. So I kind of fueled my own musical vinyl addiction. But the first house nights in Liverpool, I mean, there was quite a few. I never really saw it. I mean, John Kelly was there the early days, Mike Nola was there early days, and they went on to form a night called Quadrant Park, which was a proper glitzy commercial club, as in with carpets and neon and mirrors. And they literally took it over and overnight turned it into an underground house night. And you know what? It was in Bootle, which is quite an industrial part of Liverpool. And it was all the lads who were sort of 18 to 25 used to go to watch the football, or soccer as you'd call it, Liverpool FC. And it was at the time when football hooliganism was a big thing, right? Within weeks of Quadrant Park opening, and then obviously there'll be other clubs around the country. Within weeks of that, and these young lads discovering ecstasy and listening to massive piano anthems, football hooliganism almost stopped within about a month. All these people who they normally would have knocked out in a second, they were like hugging and stuff. And if you go and watch some of the videos of Quadrant Park, if you type in Quadrant Park into YouTube and you just watch some of the atmospheres, it's like being at a football match when they score a goal, when like a big tune comes on, and you're like, you've just literally moved from the football terrace into the club, sweating like I don't know what, waiting for your favourite records. And that was a massive, massive thing in the UK, because it was, football hooliganism was rife. I mean, every team, every city, there was violence everywhere, and it was bad. And suddenly, overnight, just literally, it kind of changed. So I know it's a dubious subject for people to talk about, and people will say, "Oh no, it shouldn't have happened." But I'm not saying everybody should go out and do it, but it changed a lot of society in the UK, and I think that's why British clubland kind of boomed, because it suddenly went from the UK was a bit sort of almost run down and moody, and it suddenly went to a euphoric, uplifting, friends of family kind of experience. So because I was up in Liverpool, I didn't see any of the massive illegal raves that were going on down south. None of my mates would come with me to go to the ones in Blackburn, where places where like DJs like Sasha and a few others started. But I used to be part of a night where Dave Ralph was resident on a Monday. And this was about 1991. And he used to play all sorts of things, from indie and a bit of disco and a bit of house. And then one day he just said to me, I'm going to just start playing house from now on. So on a Monday, it was always house, and I became his warm-up DJ. I was only about 18 maybe. And do you know what? We used to get, on a Monday, we used to get 1,000 in every Monday. Wow. I mean, okay, they did have a drinks promotion where every drink was 50 pence, which is quite a good offer. And I saw it the other day, 50p for a drink. So I mean, that would have helped, but it was rammed in there. And do you know what? We used to get some great people come and DJ for the bank holidays. They used to have guest DJs. They used to have Sasha. They used to have Dave Seaman. They used to have Laurent Garnier. They used to have Evolution. Used to do live PAs. Sub. And do you know what? It was brilliant. So that lasted a good few years. So that was kind of my early experience of DJing in house clubs. And then we all used to go down to Shelley's on a Friday, and we used to go and see these two DJs called Sasha and Dave Seaman DJ. That's it. I thought I was addicted already until I went there. And I was like, oh my Lord, what has happened here? Everyone was saying, wait to see this DJ called Sasha. And I was like, oh, he's really good. And they were like, no, this is Dave Seaman. Sasha's still to come on. So then he came on, and I've never seen an atmosphere like it in my life in a club, ever. It was the time when foghorns and whistles used to be allowed in a club. So it was just this massive noise with 1,500 people in what must have been a 750 capacity venue going bananas to records I've never heard in my life. And it just made me realise it's not just what you play, it's how you play it. And that's how I learned about building DJ sets. From going to Shelley's to watching Sasha, and just realising you can start deep and just slowly build it up, and you don't have to play every big tune. As long as you get to some big tunes near the end, then that's when the crowd go completely crazy. But you can still have fun and play quirky tunes along the way, and play records that aren't as big, but they're bigger than your earlier tracks, so the atmosphere and the energy and the tension still builds. So yeah, that's how I kind of got addicted to my early days of being a clubber and a DJ. Sort of, that was 91ish, that was then. So yeah, if you could see me now, I'm all starry-eyed with a big smile on my face.
Me too, though. Like, that's so it's so amazing. That's what, 91. Like, there's still so much to come. Like,
yeah, it's weird as well, because I was thinking about, I found another flyer recently where I think it was about 1994. We did a night called it was something like a classics night, and I remember thinking, wow, there's so much music to play. And this is in 1994, and I was like, I looked at it the other day and thought, oh my God, there was so much more. There was decades of music to come after that. And I thought, wow, I can't believe I'm playing all these old things. So yeah, but I think that's the beauty of music. It's just and clubbing. There's so many feelings and emotions and tunes that'll bring back memories and excitement. And I was lucky to be there for those early days. Yeah, for me, it kind of got me addicted, and I'm still waiting for that effect to wear off. And I don't think it's going to wear off anytime soon.
Well, I love it. I mean, that's changed so many people's lives, and I love your perspective on, bringing people together. And there's some, it's amazing the music is still going that, came from this point.
Yeah, definitely. And I do think music it's the catalyst, and it does bring people together. I'm good friends with John Sutton, who was Evolution, and I only ever see him at a Sasha Digweed night, and he always says, he said the music just kind of brings, whichever night it is, will bring a certain amount of friends out, a certain type of friend, and by whichever DJ is on, who is going to turn up. And it's brilliant. Like, if I go to a certain night, I know he'll be there, and I know there'll be some of the guys from London, and I think that's brilliant, that music can make you forge friendships and because the DJ is still DJing and he's still being great, that you all go and see him and you can continue your friendship. That's a whole other thing, rather than just going to what it must have been in the 70s and 80s, where you kind of just go to the same club week in, week out, and you see the same people all from within 3 miles, 5 miles of your home. I'll happily travel 200 miles to London to go to a Bedrock night, for example, and I'll see people there from New York and Australia and have come all over Europe. And that really is the power of music and the power of some of the big DJs. That is hard to explain. The I don't know what the word is, camaraderie that you kind of get, the sharing of the same happiness and love and passion for the music. I'm sure it exists elsewhere, but for me, that is a big thing. And I keep seeing all these Facebook quotes and stuff, but one that really sticks in my mind is if I hadn't discovered music, I wouldn't have discovered most of my friends, and that freaks me out. If I hadn't got into it, I wouldn't have had all these friends I've got. And that's a mad and very powerful thing, and I'm not too sure if anything else does bring people together quite the way that music does, and it seems to be especially strong in the more underground scenes, because people don't just go to be cool, they go to because they passionately love it, and they'll travel up and down the country and or all over the world and have a brilliant time. And yes, definitely the power of music for sure.
I agree. I think it is something special, like those moments, something about dancing and electronic music, and like you said, the underground. Like there's something special there that has lasted so long and continues to last. And really, I don't know, it's just like this love. I think the love that the energy that the music makes is like something special.
Yes, definitely. I've seen a few interviews with Seth Troxler, and I've never seen Seth play, but I know he's extremely passionate, and he always says that he meets so many intelligent people who are into underground music, which I think from an outside looking in, like for example, somebody's auntie or whatever, someone's mum is going to say, no, it's all brain dead music, just listen to thud, thud, thud. But it is, especially the underground scene, it is quite a thought-provoking, emotional experience when you go out clubbing, and it's probably not what it looks like from the outside. It's the love and the friendship and the excitement and the energy and the anticipation of what is going to come in the night and beyond, whatever happens afterwards. And I think that's also fueled by social media nowadays, the way people can interact. See, I've got one of my best friends, Carlos Elizondo. I speak to him nearly every day on social media, and it's because of our very similar love of music. And I've known him for 20 years. So the music brought us together. But because of things like social media, it's much easier to keep in touch with people on a more global kind of scheme. I mean, if I'd have met him in the 80s, or for example, what would I have done? I wouldn't have spoken to him every day then. I think things have changed in a good way. See, I know a lot of people say social media is unsocial, but I think it's weirdly very social, and how you can be in touch with people on a global scale. And it's nice as well. You meet friends of friends, and you see people comment on posts on social media. For example, I saw somebody comment on a friend's post, and I thought, I recognise his name. Clicked on his face. He wasn't a friend, so I added him as a friend. Then I googled him, and I was like, oh, okay, I used to listen to your records years ago. And then within about 5 minutes, he started messaging me. Hi, Steve, thanks for the ad. And then within about half an hour, we'd arranged to remix each other's tunes. I was like, how did that happen? How on earth did that happen? If I hadn't have read that post at that time and just happened to recognise your name and add you as a friend and just started chatting, then this like-mindedness wouldn't have happened. And I think that's quite an exciting thing. I've still never met him. I've kind of known him for years, and I've still never met him, but I know him well online, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I like that. There's a lot to, say negative about social media with, people caring more about posting that they're at places than actually being present. But I love that, that you take the positives from it. And that's true because, fans can easily connect with DJs and...
Yes. No, that is good. And probably lucky for the DJs that I didn't have Facebook when I was about 18, because I was how can I say this? I was very passionate, and I would have stalked everybody till I got blocked by every DJ under the sun, I reckon. I think I was just very keen. And I think that's why I know all the DJs, because I used to I wouldn't just go and see them. I'd make sure I'd go and speak to them before, after, and usually during. What's this record? That I'm well known for. If I hear a track, I need to know what it is. I'll fight my way past Dorman and everything to find out the names of tracks. I've done it at festivals and everything. I've managed to get backstage past Dorman just to run up and ask Nick Warren what a tune was. This was about 96, and he just started laughing. He showed me the record and went, thank you.
Well, that's awesome. So that obviously translated into your career at 3 and actually being the one to pick out records for. Yes,
I am a bad train spotter or a good train spotter, depends how you look at it. I'm just I like to know a lot about the music and what's coming and what's coming up next and what the big tune is, and I think that's just me just being sort of passionate about it all, and that's probably how I got the job in 3 So it was nice being in the middle of sort of your average person who just wants to buy records, and also like Sasha or John Digweed or Roger Sanchez phoning up. It still used to freak me out. It still used to proper freak me out, even though I'd known Digweed to speak to for 5-6 years. When he used to phone up for tunes, I'd be like, hey, it's John Digweed. And to be honest, I spoke to him earlier this morning, and halfway through the phone call, I just started going, hey, I just speak to John Digweed. It still freaks me out. It really does. I don't know why. See, for me, Digweed's my DJ who I aspire to be like. Not necessarily musically, although everybody does say I play very similar to him, which is nice, seeing as though that's who I friendlily stalk musically. But because of that, I've lost my train of thought. I forgot what I was saying now. I started speaking about John Digweed.
Well, we were talking to people and being the one, knowing all the tracks. And
oh yeah. So if somebody would describe a tune to me in the shop, I used to often phone them up. Right, whoever it would be, Digweed or Nick Warren. Right, somebody's in the shop asking about this. It does this. And like they'd always tell me what the track was. I used to go back and say, right, this is the track you're after. It'd be, for example, it'd be Blue Amazon, There's No Other Love, and it's not going to come out for 9 months. And they go, no!
That's awesome. That's so cool. There's something special about that when it's something that's, you had to really go and like deeply search for things and be at the record store, and you had to really go digging. And
You did indeed. But I was speaking to somebody the other day about this. It's not just about buying your new stuff. I find that people will miss out now on doing that good old-fashioned crate digging in a second-hand shop, looking in the records that are £1. The things that they think the shop are like, oh, I don't know what that is, let's just get rid of it. But I have got some of my all-time favourite tracks in places like that, getting down on hands and knees, rooted through 25 boxes each with 100 in to go, oh my God, that's that record! That's that record!
Yes!
Which you don't get in the digital age.
Yes. Yeah, there's a record store in Orlando that like has all these gems from like progressive era, and it's so much fun to go, and it's like, a couple of bucks, and you're like, oh my God, like it would have been, $100 back in the day, you know.
Whoa! I tell you another thing that's changed. One major thing that has changed for music nowadays, which is probably with the demise of record shops, and especially with the digital age, is that I used to always go and speak to the same people in the same shops who knew what music that I liked, who could find me the good records. Now, if you're not going into a record shop, if you're going into Beatport, you're kind of going in blindly, like just trying to find the section you want. You haven't got that personal touch. You haven't got that person who knows what tunes you like, what tunes you bought last week, and is going to say, this is a new track, you need to listen to this. If you're not sure about it, wait, listen to the dub on the B-side. That's not there anymore. That's and I don't know if it'll ever be back, really. And I think that was kind of a good thing. Maybe that's why I kind of kept my job for so long, because I knew what everybody liked, which is an exciting thing. Because if every city I used to go to, I know people in all, because I used to be in record shops. You kind of get to know all the other people in all the record shops. So if I'd go to Plastic Fantastic, I'd always speak to the same boys, or if I went to Manchester, I'd always speak to the same guys. So that whole thing is lacking. But another thing is, it used to be like a social hub, especially on a Friday and a Saturday. DJs would come in once they'd woken up with their hangovers, trundle in on a Saturday afternoon, especially Saturday afternoon. The shop, 3-Beat, used to be absolutely packed, and I'd say that like 20 people there would be DJs. Some would be local lads, some would be, I don't know, John Please Women, or Sasha, or someone who's playing Cream that night, or Paul Oakenfold. Then you'd get people who just come in to buy a mix CD, and it was that hub of being able to just speak to all these DJs of different genres, and I used to like it when they used to point tunes out to each other. Have you heard that track? they'd be like, pass him that tune, and you'd see their little faces light up as they listen on the headphones. Oh yeah, I've been after this. So I mean that is majorly missing from the kind of whole digital thing nowadays. It used to be very exciting and something I used to look forward to as a punter, getting up on a Saturday and going to 3-Beat Records before I worked there and spending my money and listening to, having a laugh with the guys who worked there, and the house guy would be like, Steve, you need this. The lad who did the proggy stuff would be like, Steve, you need this. But that's, it's a bit sad that isn't there anymore. I mean, obviously, if you're still buying vinyl, yes, but I mean, I don't think any of my friends still buy vinyl as such. I mean, I still get a few bits from 3-Beat Records, or 3B Records as it's called now, because my friend still works there. But I'm a bit lazy, and I buy it if they'll rip a digital copy for me. So I buy it just so I've got it, stick it on the shelf. I'll never ever play it, but I'll play the MP3. But I still bought the record, so that's about as near as I get nowadays. But I mean, even then, I don't go to the shop, which is about 5 miles from my house. I only go every couple of months or something to pop in. So yeah, things have changed that way. That's a bit of a downside, but also we used to sell records to people in wherever, Israel to Poland to Mexico to Germany to Australia to America. So what we used to do is sell them records, courier them over, or post them over. So they could be waiting 2 weeks for a tune. Whereas the great thing for them nowadays is somebody in Australia can buy the same record at the same time and have it in their house within 3 or 4 minutes or less, depending on the download speed. So that as a punter has got to be a massive perk. The instantness of the availability of some of the tracks. So yeah, swings and roundabouts, I suppose. There's good stuff and bad stuff. For me, I miss being in record shops. I miss working with the boys. I miss being there as a punter. I miss finding the gems. So yeah, that's certainly changed.
What's the camaraderie that you were saying, extending from the club to the record store to,
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I used to, because I used to work there, I used to get a lot of gigs off it. People used to come in and be saying, "Do you want to come and DJ at my place? Do you want to play here?" And that was a good thing. But I'd also say some of the other people would be in the shop and do you know him? Speak to him. And that was good. People used to pass each other gigs up and down the country in the Northwest. So, that was very handy. Also, I had a radio show. There was a radio station called Juice FM, and I was on twice a week. I used to be on every Friday and Saturday, literally straight from the record shop. I used to, if I'd have time, I'd go home, get changed, come back in, do the radio show, and then go out and do 1 or 2 DJ gigs. So yes, Fridays and Saturdays were crazy times. I'd literally be working from 10 in the morning till 3 in the morning and then do the same again the next day. So yeah, I used to like doing nothing on a Sunday. But I was very glad I had Mondays as my day off. They were handy. Yes. I used to just watch television and just try and recover before the mayhem started again.
Well, it's so awesome though, that passion you still get to do today. I think that's seldom that people get to, that's something I did in my youth or whatever, and now I'm serious or whatever. But to be able to still do it today for your careers, it's just awesome.
Absolutely. I can't believe I still get away with it. I can't believe how much I still absolutely love it. And I also, my friend Nick, we asked our wives recently, we were like, when do you think we'll stop clubbing? When is a time when you think we should stop clubbing? And they both just laughed and went, "You two will never stop clubbing. You will never, ever stop clubbing." And we just laughed and went, "Oh, good." That's what we thought as well. So yeah, from that, it's exciting. I'm very, very lucky. I'm spinning a few plates as in the DJ and the radio and the studio. I've got the promo company and the things with the DJs. So I spin a few plates at once, but all of them I still absolutely love. So for me to be able to do a job that I love and earn money is quite ridiculous, really, because I don't feel like I'm busy. I've got a lot to do, but I'm not one of these people. I'm very lucky. I don't wake up and go, oh, it's work today. I don't get that feeling, which I know people are now throwing things at the radios and stuff.
No, I think that's possible. Yeah, like I think it's possible for people, and a testament to you just continuing. You know, like you said, you had a time when you weren't sure or were not, you know, and then you kept at it. And I think it's like just a testament to being persistent with something that you love. Like,
yes,
everyone has that.
And I don't think I know when to give up either, which is good.
Yeah.
So I'll just keep.
Never give up. Yeah.
No, I did a post about that on Facebook recently. I found a photo of, we did a night in Liverpool called Luna, and that was at the time when I was about to give up, and it came up on my time hop thing saying 6 years ago today. And just looking at that one picture, it just brought it all back to me. I was like, wow, I was really low then. I didn't know what to do. This was my now or never moment. Either don't do a night and just give up now, or just try one more thing. And I was so glad that I carried on. And I thought a few people might like it. And it ended up having like 600 people like it. And people were messaging me saying, what you said was very heartfelt and you've inspired me to do something that I wanted to do. And I was like, wow, that was never the intention. I did it so a few of my mates are like, oh yeah, I remember that night. That was okay. But it's nice that I've stirred a few people's emotions up. And actually 2 or 3 gigs, people have mentioned it. Oh, that poster's really heartfelt. Do you know what? I didn't mean it to be like that, but it just shows you that maybe people do have a lot of passion that they're kind of thinking, oh, I wish I'd have done that, or maybe I should do that one day. But I think that life is for living. You only get one life. You might as well live it to the full. Do things and try things. It's better to have tried it and then think, oh, I don't like it, rather than being sort of 80 and sitting in a nursing home thinking, oh, I wish I'd have done that. I mean, okay, yeah, of course you can't do everything in life, but if you're gonna try and do your main passions, then yeah, try them. You might like it. You might be all right with it. I seem to be getting away with it. So so yeah, I'm definitely an advocate for trying things.
Absolutely, spot on, 100%. And you're not alone in that either. Like, you know, there's a lot of, especially in this industry, and
yes, yeah, absolutely. I mean, that's the good thing about, because I've been around a long time, and because I was resident at some of these clubs, so I used to play with a lot of DJs, and because I used to sell them records, and because I had a radio show for 10 years, and every week I'd have a guest DJ in the mix, I got to speak to a lot of people. And what you do find is the passion in this industry is crazy. People are so driven. The people who are doing well are still so into it. I mean, ridiculously pushing themselves, trying to be better and doing adventurous tracks or remixes or labels or parties or tours around the world. And you can just tell by speaking to them, the enthusiasm and excitement is still there. And that, again, you see their excitement. And I think it spurs you on a bit. And you think, this is very, very infectious. This is very good. But yeah, what a way to earn your money. I highly recommend it if you can do it.
I love it. Well, I could really talk to you forever, but I know I've had you here for an hour. Is there anything you want to promote or share or else talk about?
Yeah, I mean, I could go on for hours. This is like
awesome.
Yeah.
Maybe we could have like multiple parts, you know.
I'd have forgotten to collect the kids from school and stuff. which probably wouldn't go down too well. Yeah, I mean, Selador, I love Selador. I haven't really spoken about that much. We started that 5 years ago. Because I used to sell records to Dave and I used to sort his tunes, we were constantly talking, and it was just a flippant comment of me saying, yeah, I'm gonna start a record label one day. We were speaking on one of the messengers on AIM or something, and my phone rang within 2 seconds, and it was Dave going, do you want to do a record label with me? And for me mentioning that to saying, oh yeah, we could do this, to that we just celebrated our 5th year, so that has been great. Running a record label was one of my lifetime dreams, and I love that. And some of the artists and remixes and tracks that we've had, and also the reason that we started the label was, as well as to show everybody we're not just playing 15-minute progressive tracks. We like housey stuff to melodic techno and everything in between. As well as that, we wanted to force ourselves to get back in the studio again. So that Selador has been brilliant for that. And also off that, I've got some great gigs off the back. It's kind of like flying your flag for your musical identity. That, and then alongside the FRISKY Show, it's great having listeners that I might not have ever had in Argentina and Tel Aviv and Mexico and Russia and stuff. That's a brilliant thing. And again, the power of music. So thank you, FRISKY, for putting up with me. Hopefully I'll still be here when we do our 10th birthday as well.
Absolutely. I don't know. I think you guys have something special in what you're doing. I think you're doing a great job at
your
identity, and yeah.
Good. Yeah, we love it. We speak every day and constantly, and we just keep going, let's do this, let's do this. Yeah. We still think we're 18, I think.
It's awesome. And I think that shows too, especially with the variety you guys have, like you said.
Yeah.
But obviously it's well, curated.
Well, yes. I mean, it's doing well. I mean, we wanted to see if we could do more than one musical style within one little label, because everything we were obviously, in people's minds, they think that we only play one kind of style or one sound. So it was nice to be able to showcase everything that kind of does it for us. And Dave and I are very, very musically similar with what we like, from deep housey vibes right through to tougher stuff, and vocals or melodic stuff or things that are a bit quirky. So it's been good to do it with Dave. I mean, I could open doors and get people to do stuff because I've been in the industry so long, but when you've got Dave Seaman or Renaissance and Global Underground emailing for you, that opens more doors than I could ever open. So that's very handy. That's nice. That's a nice tool to have in our armory. Here's Dave Seaman saying hello. But I mean, he's finding loads of people. Like now, he said he spoke to people like Petter Dundov and Patrice Baumel, and he was DJing with them, and they were saying things like, "Oh, we used to listen to all your Global Underground CDs," and so obviously he's been a big influence on people, including myself. That's been good. And we've got a lot more to come yet. I don't know what we're going to do. It was nice to finally make a track with Dave. So we did that for our 5th birthday, and then we met in AD last year, and we were trying to work out what we could do, and we were going to have like a Quiver EP or something. Some of them was quite Selador. And I just happened to be on my friend Nick. This is Nick again, who I'll still be clubbing with when I'm 70. He was like, "Why don't you and Dave make a tune?" And I was like, "Oh, that's a good idea." Like, Dave, do you want to make a tune together? And then that's what suddenly I went, what if we asked some of the other people? What if we asked Quiver and Christoph? And then before we knew it, the beers were flowing, and we'd asked about 40 people to make tracks, and then we ended up with 12 collaborations, sort of from 24 of label artists and close friends. So the birthday EP is doing well, and it's available on Beatport now. Good plug. You can go buy it if you like. So that came out last week, so all good. That's keeping us busy as well. I think you better stop me there, otherwise I'm gonna start up again.
all right, if I have to.
Thank Thank you very much for having me, Lauren. Very much appreciated.
Yeah, thank you. This was such an awesome conversation. I really enjoyed it a lot.